Listen very carefully and follow my instructions. Prepare your brain for the Cortex Labs Nootropics podcast.
I gotta tell you, being an entrepreneur, I will not go through the rest of my career without taking nootropics. Aniracetam, piracetam, modafinil, Noopept, uridim monophosphate. I mean, phenylpiracetam, forget it. You can always have a better brain.
The Cortex Labs Nootropics podcast is about to begin.
Episode number 49 of the Cortex Labs Nootropics podcast. I am your host, Ryan Michael Ballo. So check it out. We're going to talk about how to, like, if you need to make 10 capsules of a particular nootropic stack that you figured out works well for you, or you're getting them from one of our digital nootropic stack list guides, then I'm going to lay out the best strategy both for accuracy and then the strategy for less accurate but much more convenient. Because I think a lot of folks have the question, right? Well, if I want, we just did a video about this. So I'm going to use the example we did in the video. If I want 500 milligrams of aniracetam, if I want 75 milligrams theacrine, 200 milligrams alpha GPC, 10 milligrams vinpocetine, 5 milligrams Noopept, which is a pretty good stack in 10 capsules. I want that amount in 10 capsules, right? So I can take that stack 10 different times. How am I going to do that? Do I have to weigh it all out individually and then just one capsule at a time and then weigh all the stuff out? That becomes tedious. And there's an answer to that question. So I'm going to get to that in just a sec. Let's do 2 minutes of product pro. Number one, we just launched the Beginner's Guide to Aniracetam. For those of you that asked us, hey, that's live. Get it at livecortex.com. It's a digital guide right now. The price point's $20. It's $19.99. It lays out 25 aniracetam stacks that are these are highly complex stacks, guys. It took me about a decade to figure these stacks out. And then teach you how to cycle aniracetam, teach you how to dose aniracetam, teach you what to take when you cycle off aniracetam. It is the Beginner's Guide to the Everything You Need to Know guide on aniracetam. It's digital. Get it at livecortex.com. Then we've got the Noopept Pro stack list. Lays out a bunch of Noopept stacks. These are highly effective memory and focus Noopept stacks. Teaches you how to dose Noopept sublingually and intranasally. Then we've got Smarter, Better, Faster. That's a digital guide that explains everything. It's essentially like the Everything You Need to Know guide about nootropics. If you're new to nootropics, that is the guide to get. Then we've got the Racetam God Guide, which breaks down 80 or so Racetam stacks. Very powerful, mainly focus, motivation, speed of processing, verbal fluency Racetam stacks. Very powerful stacks. And then we've got the Cortex stack. That's our pre-made stack. You want to turn the lights on, get a bottle of Cortex. That stuff is highly effective. That's our pre-made nootropic stack. Lastly, we do nootropics consulting. Okay, it's a 40-minute call with me on a Skype or phone call, whatever you want to do. 15 additional email correspondence. We help a lot of people get their stack straight with that service. Okay, so the bottom line is that if you want to make 10 capsules, of a particular stack, and let's say you're going to take that stack 5 days a week for 2 weeks because you're in medical school and you just want to take the same stack that works well for you. Fine. If you want to do it, go for it. It's your brain. I just suggest cycling because I think you should cycle between different compounds. But if you want to do that, you're either going to have to do one of two things. You're going to have to weigh 500 milligrams aniracetam, 200 milligrams GPC, 75 milligrams theacrine, 10 milligrams vinpocetine, 5 milligrams Noopept, weigh it all out and then put it in a capsule. And hopefully you're using a capsule maker, like a 00 capsule maker. Just Google capsule machine. I think Capsuline makes a capsule machine, a capsule maker. And then, and then you just take that one capsule. If you're going to do it if you're going to make 10 of them, if you want to get it all very accurate and have exactly the ingredient quantities of the nootropic that you're trying to shoot for in that capsule, then you're going to have to just do that 10 times. You weigh it all out, you put it in a capsule. You weigh it all out, you put it in a capsule. You weigh it all out, you put it in a capsule. Now, obviously, that becomes tedious, right? And it's like, wow, how inconvenient is that? Pretty inconvenient, I agree. But that is the best way to get exactly accurate on all those ingredients within 10 capsules. That's just the best way to do it. Now, there is another way to do it, which is far more convenient, but it is definitely less accurate, and in the end, you will not know the milligram quantity per capsule of your ingredients. It's just, I don't want to call it a crapshoot because it's not that inaccurate. but it's definitely going to be less inaccurate than doing it one by one, making your capsules one by one. And this strategy, which is a strategy which was the basis of one of the videos that we saw recently. So if you watch that video and this is like a dupe for you, sorry, but I got to let all the podcast folks know. That strategy is to do the following. It's to weigh out, in milligram quantity, all of the ingredients that you want to put, in this stack. But weigh them out essentially times as many capsules as you want to take. So let's just, to make it easy, say that you want to make 10 capsules of 500 milligrams aniracetam, 5 milligrams Noopept, 75 milligrams theacrine, 200 milligrams alpha GPC, 10 milligrams vinpocetine. So what that would mean is each individual ingredient, you've got to weigh out that milligram quantity times 10, because you're gonna make 10 capsules. So you'd weigh out 500 milligrams aniracetam, times 10. I don't know. I think that's 5 grams. That's 5 grams. And then you would weigh out the theacrine, 75 milligrams of theacrine, and whatever that ends up being, 750 milligrams. Okay, and then you put it aside. Then you'd have to weigh 200 milligrams of alpha GPC times 10, right? So that's 2 grams. So 2 grams of alpha GPC. On and on. The vinpocetine is, you want at 10 milligrams per capsule, so you'd want to weigh 10 milligrams times 10. That's 100 milligrams of vinpocetine. And then the same with Noopept. You're doing 5 milligrams of Noopept. You times that by 10, that's 50 milligrams of Noopept. Okay, so now you have all of so you have to weigh all that out and then take that bulk powder, and the next step is to put all that bulk powder together. The strategy here, which is a pretty known strategy, a pretty common strategy, and frankly, I know it sounds like crazy and amateur, but it is the working strategy. I mean, it is the strategy that folks use for this. You then take all of that powder that you just measured out of each individual ingredient quantity times however many capsules you want to make, or times however many times you want to take it in different sets of taking the stack. And then what you do is you put it in a blender. Okay, that's where it gets like, people are like, what, a blender, dude? Are we doing Playhouse here? No, you got to put it in a blender, and it's pretty accurate, not as accurate as it could be, but it's certainly efficient and convenient. So you put it in a blender and you hit blend. Okay, you hit blend and you blend all of those ingredients together. So everything kind of meshes, everything kind of evenly distributes, and then it becomes like this one big, just sort of mesh, big group of powder, just pile of powder within the blender of all that stuff. And it I've never tested, because you at that point you need to be advanced like pharmaceutical or nutraceutical lab to test this stuff. But it does seem pretty clear in my anecdotal experience that it gets pretty close. I wouldn't say it's surgical or 100%. It certainly isn't very close, but it seems pretty relatively okay close to your milligram quantity per capsule that you're trying to reach. And a hell of a lot more convenient, obviously, right? Because, look, I mean, you just weighed it all out. You're going to have to do that, right? But then all you did was put it together and blend it. And then you could take that blended output, the blended end result, and evenly distribute it. You just pour that powder into a capsule maker within which you've got 10 capsules sitting in it, ready to be made. So you got these 10 capsules, you pour the powder over, and then you just evenly distribute the powder throughout those capsules. Then you make your capsules and you're on your way. Then you'll have 10 capsules of roughly 500 milligrams aniracetam, 75 milligrams theacrine, 200 milligrams alpha GPC, 10 milligrams vinpocetine, and 5 milligrams of Noopept, roughly. Okay, and that's the best way to do it. So I mean, so it's sort of like one or the other. Do you want to capsule them one at a time? The question is, do you want exact specificity, exact granularity in the milligram quantity per capsule? You have to do it one at a time if you want to be as exact as possible. Are you okay with some milligram deviations, really not knowing what it's going to end up being, but it pretty plausibly being relatively accurate to what you want? Measure out what you want to do per pill or per day or per stack times however many pills you want to make, capsules you want to make, and different times you want to take that stack, and then put it all in a blender, blend it for 3 minutes blend it for 3 minutes, and then evenly distribute that powder throughout, 5 or 10 capsules, however many capsules you're making. Put it in the capsules, make the capsules, and you're done. Okay, so that's my take on that. That's a question we get all the time because that doesn't seem to be implicit anywhere. No one really discusses that. Frankly, we got to put that on. I think we should add that to some of our digital guides because I don't think we talk about that in the digital guides. But I think that's going to be useful for folks trying to get that answer to that specific question of how do I, make a bunch of capsules at once and ensure that the milligram quantity of what I'm trying to put in here, is all pretty accurate. Okay, so that has been the episode. That has been the podcast episode number 49 of the Cortex Labs Nootropics podcast. Thanks so much for listening. Hey, look, man, if you've not tried the Cortex stack, man, that stuff turns on the lights. We got people hitting us up, calling us, trying to call us and sending us frantic emails like, man, when we just ran out of Cortex a month or so ago for 3 or 4 days. Like, dude, I'm trying to order Cortex. When's it going to be back in stock? And it was in stock a couple of days later because folks really get significant brain performance from that stack. We're talking about folks that haven't had good brain performance for 4 years. They take the Cortex stack, lights turn back on again, and now they're back in. Get a bottle of Cortex at livecortex.com. Our digital guides really teach you about nootropics. They give you powerful stacks. They give you information like the quality of information we just broke down in this podcast. Number one, the Beginner's Guide to Aniracetam. Just launched, guys, $19.99. Teaches you everything about Aniracetam. Gives you 25 stacks. Number two, the NuPep Pro Stack List. Teaches you everything about NuPep. Gives you a bunch of stacks, oral, sublingual, and nasal, focus and memory NuPep stacks. Then we got the Racetam God Guide, 80 focus, laser focus, memory, motivation, speed of processing, verbal fluency, Racetam stacks. Talk about surgical. Then we got Smarter, Better, Faster. That's a digital guide that you can get if you're new to nootropics and you want to learn everything. Just get Smarter, Better, Faster, download it. All these are downloadable for any device you have. You'll get it right away. And this stuff is awesome. And then lastly, we have a Nootropics consult. It's 40 minutes with me, 15 additional email correspondence. Okay, that is the end of the ending Product Pro on the Cortex Labs Nootropics podcast. Thanks so much for being with me. Thanks. Check us out on the web at livecortex.com. We got a big blog, livecortex.com/blog, constantly posting experiments there, dose quantities there, like anecdotals there, scientific studies and research on aniracetam and everything else you can think of there. And then if you don't check out the YouTube channel, watch us on YouTube, the Cortex Labs Nootropics YouTube channel on YouTube. Lots of videos, over 300 at this point, from everything you can think of to PRL-853 to modafinil to all the racetams. We're just pumping content out like mad. Thanks so much for listening, everybody. Rock on. Talk to you next time.